the Spyderco Endura G10 scores, wait for it, a perfect 10 out of 10 on the Nutnfancy likability scale. For all the reasons I mentioned in my review, I won't go over them here. Not enough time. I will say this though. One of the main reasons I totally dig the Endura G10 is this full flat ground VG10 steel blade. Excellent. And in the review video, if I'm not mistaken, I advocated that this become a permanent part of the Endura lineup. Huh. Well, fast forward to 2010 SHOT Show, Las Vegas, booth review with Mr. Ed Shemp, Mr. Sal Glesser themselves. We kind of saw just that, didn't we? Check out the reflection. Wait for it. Here it comes. The Endura 4 FFG. Full flat ground. Love this knife. I was excited when I saw it at SHOT Show. I said as much. You guys saw me just getting excited. Awesome blade. Why is it awesome, Nutnfancy? Well, it is basically the same knife here, but about half the cost. And this knife is still one of my top recommended hard use tactical folding knives. Cut the cost in half, put an FRN handle on it, same blade, and you have the Endura 4 FFG version. Amazing. What's so amazing about it, Nutnfancy? Why do you like it so much? I'm talking about the blade. Hang on, get a good drink. First off, it cuts so amazingly well. Let me bring in a regular Endura by way of comparison. Previously reviewed in the Nutnfancy project, quite favorably I might add. Here comes a plain edge saber ground Endura 4. The Endura remains one of their all-time best-selling knives for lots of reasons, just like I said in this review. Check it out though. There's a saber grinding plain edge variety on the Endura, and some folks may not know what I'm talking about. See how the grind starts about mid-spine and it goes to the cutting edge? Compare that against the FFG version. Full flat ground, baby. This, in my opinion, in my experience, cuts so much better. It slices superbly. It opens packages easily. It's a great food preparation knife. I can't say anything bad about the FFG version. Maybe some guys can. They might say this. Here I am. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Okay, let's look at the thicknesses of these Enduras. Again, the regular Endura 4 on the left with its saber grind, the full flat grind on the right. Notice the differences in thicknesses of the blades. Okay, notice how it tapers on the FFG version to a very sharp and pointy tip. Also a pointy tip on that saber version, but notice how thick the spine is. Okay, in our discussion at SHOT Show 2010, Mr. Sal talked about why he likes the saber grind, why they've stuck to it so long. Basically, it's a stronger spine and they're afraid that a customer might abuse a blade, bend it, break it, by doing pretty much something they shouldn't be doing with a knife, and they stuck with a saber grind. For my money, for my mileage, I'll take an FFG version any day of the week. POU. I'm going to say lightweight tactical blade. Basically what I said in all my previous Endura reviews, with a secondary use of perhaps, let's roll in a green version too, that'll be a cool coloration. We'll talk about cool factor here in a bit. With a secondary use of EDC, that is everyday carry utility knife. A lot of dudes like the larger blades. Maybe they're on the farm, they need a larger blade for the reach, for the cutting performance that a larger blade affords. Totally understand that. For me though, primarily a lightweight tactical blade. Yes, I know we don't want to use our blades like that. I would prefer to run away myself, get myself out of the situation. It's a horrible thing to think you would ever have to employ an edged weapon that way. But, as I will say in some other videos, I can think of some even more horrible things. Yep, so lightweight tactical folding knife to be on your person as a secondary weapon, perhaps as a primary weapon depending on where you live. Doable. I'm just saying, doable. Check this out too. Size and weight. Here's the Endura FFG. Believe it or not, this version weighs less than a regular saber ground Endura 4. Primarily because of the blade thicknesses. 3.8 ounces, 3.4 ounces, according to my own measurement. That's amazing. Oh, Nutnfancy, that's only 0.4 ounces. Who cares? Most people don't. But let me tell you this. In hand, you really have to feel how lightweight this Endura 4 FFG version is. Again, FFG full flat grind. Amazing. I mean, it feels like a Delica. It really does. It's like so fast to deploy as well, jumping down to deployment. Why is that? Because we have less mass to the blade. Here's a combo edge Endura 4 Saber Ground version. Again, less mass means that blade's going to come out quicker, and it does. Are the differences show-stopping? Not really, but I can definitely tell a difference of how fast it comes out. And by the way, jumping down to lockup and strength, outstanding. I think in some other Endura reviews, I criticized the lockup. Excuse me. In other words, there was some movement in this direction, up and down, and we could actually hear that on camera. Well, here's the good news. It's all good, by the way, with the Endura 4 FFG. Having examined several different versions, oh, what do you know? Great version, on loan. Yeah, buddy. There's no movement in any of them. Okay, I don't detect any. And I'm not saying that you might find some in some of the blades. But remember, I am a knife aficionado, so I'm very picky about lockup, speed, and all that other stuff. It locks up tight, bros, sisters. If it wiggles side to side, which it won't, you do have an adjustable pivot screw, just like I said in my Endura 4 review, and you can tighten it up. Great job on the lockup. Strength, outstanding. It's a lockback design, TMPers. And all that entails and previously discussed in other videos. It's going to be strong enough for pretty much any realistic POU you're going to employ the blade in. If you have it fail, then you might want to think about, first off, upgrading to a fixed blade knife. Okay, I think there might be one or two other designs might offer some more strength in a folding tactical knife design, perhaps. But I think for most intents and purposes, it'll be just outstanding. How about the VG10 steel? And again, I'm repeating myself. I've talked about it in so many Spyderco reviews. It's just excellent. Holds such a fine edge, and out of box, you've got to just check out the edges on the Spyderco Endura 4 FFG versions to appreciate them. I know most Spydercos come out of the box that way, and they do such a great job with it. The edge is just rocking razor sharp. And the good news is it's easy to bring it back to razor sharpness since it is VG10 steel. It's not impossible to resharpen. You know, some users with a ZDP 189, there's a Saber Ground ZDP 189 Endura 4, a little bit harder to sharpen. It's a very hard steel, rocking about 64 on the Rockwell scale. You know, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards VG10. I like VG10. It's easy. Great rust resistance too, proven by my own backpacking trips, trout fishing, you know, skinning. Just love the VG10. It's just perfect. Getting down the talking points, handle material. Same stuff I've talked about in lots of reviews. I'm going to repeat it here though, because I want this review to be self-contained, because this FFG version is its own version. I love the handle. I have no problem with FRN handles, Zytel handles, as long as they're executed properly. This is a handle that is executed properly. They have what they call bidirectional texturing on the handle, which, how you doing, actually works. You know, as you dig your thumb in a forward or perhaps reverse grip, you actually do get traction on that handle. Yes, we've seen it in some other excellent Spyderco designs. Top side, a little bit of a different story. It is molded in jimping here. It gives you some purchase, not outstanding. And that takes us, I'm kind of going to deviate from the handle for a second, back to the blade jimping. Nutnfancy with the jimping again. Well, check this, dudes. There's a lot of knife designs that are incorporating jimping that have not done so previously. And I, for one, am glad to see it. Does every knife design need jimping? Absolutely not. But a knife like this, especially in a tactical POU, I want every advantage possible to maintain traction. To include that, you know, bidirectional texturing and jimping on the thumb ramp. Great job. By the way, that is perfectly cut jimping on the FFG Endura. Perfect. Nothing I could do to improve it. Ergonomics are excellent. And that takes us to clip design. Oh, one thing, let me mention this. Inside, there's your skeletonized stainless steel liners. We saw this in Endura 4. This is a liner system that is done right. I think once upon a time I was anti-stainless steel liner because it added about 0.8 ounces. Maybe not to the Endura, but for the Delica. But I will say this, with the lightness of this full flat ground blade, we're rocking what, 3.4 ounces? Dude, I will take those stainless steel liners for the added strength to the design. You betcha. Look at this. Look at how much they milled out inside there. You don't need a flashlight because you can see it. Look at that. That is a perfect execution on liners. And pretty much everything about this knife is perfect. I don't mean to sound over the top, but when they get it right, a manufacturer gets it right, dudes, I'm going to tell you, I will not hold back, and this knife gets it right. Okay, and by the way, you can take it apart. There's the mini torque screws, which sandwich the two sides together. Do I recommend doing that? No, pretty much not. It's hard to get back together. I've done it with an Endura 4. I said that in my review. It's nightmarish, dudes. You can do it, but good luck. Block out an hour or so. The clip, perfection. Standard Spyderco clip. Nothing bad I can say about that. It's strong. The blackened finish strikes nicely against a different coloration that you'll choose. Positionable to all four corners. How wicked cool is that? Lefties, righties, tip down, tip up. Doesn't matter. The Spyderco Endura 4 FFG will accommodate it, just like the other Endura. Gets it right. Great job on the clip. Durability. Well, I kind of said it in strength. I just don't see any failures of the knife in your future. Do you? I mean, unless you're abusing the knife, I just don't. It's just going to be a strong, lightweight. It's going to be a knife you're going to forget you have. And to me, that's the ultimate blade, in an everyday carry proposition. Meaning, I want it on my person all the time, and I'm not banging into it all the time thinking, oh God, I got that big clunky knife with me. That's not the Endura 4 FFG. It's just going to disappear until you need it. And by the way, I forgot to mention this. You're going to have about that much protruding out of your pocket with a clip, which is just about ideal. Sometimes I like it to bury all the way up there, not for hiding it from people so much as for, not losing the blade. Anytime you have a bunch of knife protruding, it's easy, especially when you're in heavy brush. Speaking from experience, you're going to have your knife get knocked out of your pocket, and it's going to go bye-bye. And it's going to fall on the ground. You won't have it no more. Back to durability, though. I don't see anything that would be concerning to me. It's going to be a knife that you should be able to hand down to your kids. Even with that full flat ground blade, which, by the way, has a nice belly to it. Check that out. Great sharp tip for picking out splinters and all the other medical tasks that your knife might be called upon to do. Yep, no doubt. Value. Always in the eye of the beholder. Let's get back to the Endura G10 version. Rocking around $100 once again. Might be a little expensive for people. Also, it's a little bit heavier, 4.4 ounces, so it's a solid ounce heavier. Is that a showstopper? No. I do think this will be a stronger design just because the way it's constructed, like I mentioned in my review. But 100, maybe 100 plus, maybe a little bit less, might be a little bit much. You're going to get the same cutting performance with an Endura 4 FFG version, dudes. To me, that is good value. Remember, steel has gone up as of 2010. So VG10 has gone up. As Sal Glesser said at SHOT, when we were talking about the Temperance 2 pricing, this is an expensive steel. It just is. You're going to get a very high performance, high value steel for around $55, maybe $60, depending where you go. It's just a great steel choice. I think value for what you're getting in the Endura 4 FFG is off the scale. It's excellent. Are there other knives that are less expensive? Absolutely. But for around 60-ish, we'll call it, you're scoring an ultra fast knife with solid lockup, perfect jimping, great handles, 3.4 ounces? Are you kidding me? Cool factor. Off the charts. You get whatever color you want. Blue, green, gray. I don't have it on the table, but brown. And here comes a Delica, just by way of representation, broken out into its own review because I also love it. Delica 4 FFG in purple. Excellent. Pick your poison, dudes. It's all good. The Delica, the Endura 4 full flat grind version, just an absolute home run by Spyderco. I hope it becomes a permanent part of their lineup It just depends on the way it sells, but maybe it won't. And if not, you might want to score it now at the place I always recommend there in annotation. Check it out. That's the Spyderco Endura 4 FFG. That's my update review. Thanks, dudes. See you later.